Alright guys, today we have to start with Indian Penal Code part number 6 without any further delay. Let's get started with the lecture. Let's say that there is a grandpa and he has a lot of creditors because he always wanted to start a business, so he borrowed money from a lot of people. Now the complicated thing here is that he also has a big family. Now he thinks of that if all the money goes back to pay the creditors because his business is failing, then what will happen to his family? So he came up with a solution that I will transfer all of my property to the family name and declare myself to bankrupt, and I don't have to pay a single penny to the creditors. So don't you think it is wrong that the creditors will not get anything and his family will be getting everything from his property? And the problem here is that the lawmaker also considered that, so he made a section called section 421, that is dishonest or fraudulent removal or concealment of property to prevent distribution among creditors. So here first of all read dishonest or fraudulent removal or concealment of property to prevent distribution among creditor. From the name itself, it suggests that the property must not be distributed to anyone except creditors, means to prevent the debtor from distributing the property to anyone but to creditor, means property first. On the property, the first right is of creditor to recover his money, because people have done that, they have transferred the property to in someone else's name and they declare themselves to be bankrupt so that they don't have to pay a single penny. So let's read section 421, that is whoever dishonestly or fraudulently removes, conceals or delivers to any transfer, causes to be transferred to any person without adequate, and say here grandpa was transferring his property without adequate consideration any property, intending thereby to prevent or knowing it to be likely that he will thereby prevent the distribution of that property among his creditors to the creditors, so any other person shall be punished with the imprisonment. Oh, so if anyone does that, transfer the property in the name of someone before paying anything to creditor and make himself bankrupt, then he or she will be punished to the maximum of 2 years or with fine or with both. Okay, now let's see that Guwahati versus High Court Ramchandra versus Hari Ram Todi and ANR held that an offence under section 421 must have this following essential ingredients. That the first is that the accused must remove or conceal. Here the grandpa removed, concealed and delivered the property in his family's name. Second is that the such transfer was without adequate knowledge. Here on the paper grandpa written that I will be charging only 10 lakh rupees for the plot, but in actual the cost of the plot was 1 crore. We can consider that. Third is that the accused thereby intended to prevent or knew that he was thereby likely to prevent the distribution according to law among his creditor or creditors of another person. The fourth is that he acted dishonestly or fraudulently. It applies to both movable as well as immovable property. The movable word is somehow related to us, that we studied in part 5 of our Indian Penal Code lecture. Tell me that where movable, it is applicable in criminal misappropriation of property under section 403, where someone misappropriates dishonestly a property of someone else. That's in the case of movable property in dishonest misappropriation of property or in criminal. Now let's study dishonest or fraudulent execution or deed of whenever a deed or a agreement contains false statement, that will be covered under section 423. So this is whoever dishonestly or fraudulently signs, executes or become a party to any which contains any false statement relating to consideration, then he or she will be punished under section 423, which maximum imprisonment may extend up to 2 years or with fine or with both. The second thing is the essential agreement of an offence under section 423, that it is always relatable with immovable property and always must contain a false statement in the deed. Sir, what can be the false statement? The false statement can be anything, like the agreement says that there are 4 rooms, but in actual there are 8 rooms in the house, so that they can avoid the tax. Now let's talk about forgery. It is a very simple topic. Now forgery section will start from section 463 and will be ended at 465. Forgery defined in section 463, okay, and the punishment is basically prescribed in 465. Let's understand forgery with a very good example. Let's say that there is a person called A and he is traveling with a fake passport. Now traveling with a fake passport is not a problem because it's already illegal. Now when the airport authority comes to know that, they immediately arrest him. Now why did they arrest him? Because he was traveling with a fake passport. Now whenever someone uses a fake passport for his personal gain or for anything, that topic will be covered under a topic called forgery. Now let's understand what really is forgery according to section 463. Whoever makes any false document or false electronic record or part of the document or with the intent to cause damage or injury to the public or to any or to support any claim or title or to cause any person to part with the property or to enter into any express or implied contract or with the intent to commit fraud or that fraud may be committed commits forgery. That's what Mr. A has done. Now let's talk about punishment for forgery prescribed in under section 465. Whoever commits forgery shall be punished with 2 years or with fine or with both. Now let's talk about defamation. What really is defamation? Let's understand that section 499 says about what really is defamation. Provides that whoever by words either spoken or intended to be read or by signs or by visible representation makes or publish or any imputation concerning any person intended to harm or knowing or having reason to believe that such imputation will harm the reputation of such person is said except in the case herein after accepted to defame that person. So defamation is nothing but have you ever heard the case of Ritik and Kangna, where Kangna has said something about Ritik and Ritik has said something about Kangna? So that is nothing but defamation, where the public image or reputation of that person is been harming. So wherever someone's reputation or someone has been hurt by your words either spoken or you have written about them or you are hurt, then whenever someone is hurt by any spoken word or any written paragraph or any published newspaper, he or she can file a case of defamation that he has been hurt. It may amount to defamation. If you say anything about any deceased person, it will be defamation. It will be to the hurtful to the feelings of his family or near other relatives. Okay. It may amount to defamation to make an imputation concerning a company. Whenever you are trying to defame a company, then it also be called as defamation, because you are trying to decrease or make the image of company bad. The third is an imputation in the form of an alternative or express may amount to defamation. The fourth is no imputation is said to harm persons unless that imputation directly or in the estimation of other lowers the moral or intellectual character. Here the thing is that there will be no imputation is harm to person's reputation unless that imputation intellectual or morally harming that person's morale. Okay. Let's take some illustration. A says that Z is an honest man. He never stole bees for intending cause to a bill that Z did. Lesson 9 of them and steal bees was. This is defamation unless it falls within one of the examples. So here Z says to A says that Z is an honest man. He never stole bees for, but intending that Z did that. So this is nothing but defamation because he has nothing to prove that thing. The second is A is asked who stole B's watch. A points to Z, intending cause to be that Z stole B's watch. So this is defamation unless it falls within the one of. So we will read the exception in which there will be no defamation even if it is covered under defamation thing, but it is an exception. A draws a picture of Z running away with the B's watch, intending it to believe that Z stole B's watch. This is defamation unless it falls with the one of the exception. For example, if A draws a picture of Z running with B's watch, intending to believe that B stole B's watch, Z stole B's watch, this is nothing but a defamation. How it's a defamation? Let's take a good example. Just give me a minute. So here, let's say that he is A and he draws a picture. This is the picture. Okay, and he draws a picture that Z is running with a painting. Z is running with this painting. Z is running with B's watch. Z is running with B's watch. Okay, he has been running with B's watch. Now he goes to B and says that here is the picture I have drawn of Z running with your watch, making B to believe that. So this is nothing but defamation because C has drawn a picture. This is not a camera picture. Okay, this is not a camera picture. So this is nothing but defamation, claiming a false allegations. Okay, let's quickly revise what really is defamation. Defamation is nothing but any written statement, any spoken words, or any statement which are readable or made by anyone against anyone and they are false, then that topic will be covered under defamation. Like that A draws a picture of Z running with B's watch, but it has never happened, so that B is innocent. So Z is innocent here, because he hasn't stolen B's words. So this is nothing but a defamation against Z by A. So A will be punished under defamation. Or now let's talk about the exception where defamation will be not seen. Let's say that whenever a truth, so imputation of truth which could requires to be made, or whenever truth is made against a person, so that is not a defamation because it's not a false statement. Public conduct of public servant, this is not a defamation. Means whenever a public servant is doing his duty, you cannot say that this is the person who is making my reputation decrease, because it is the work of a public servant. Now you read all those exceptions, then after that we will continue the lecture. I hope you have paused the video. Now we are gonna study a little bit more about defamation. According to section 500, defamation punishment can be may extend to 2 years or with fine or with both. This is a simple imprisonment. Okay, now let's talk about kinds of defamation. How many kinds of defamation are there? There are two kinds of defamation. The first is libel, means any kind of thing which is published in a written form, and a slander, which is an oral statement that will be covered under slander. Whenever someone publishes a libel statement which is a defamatory for someone, it will be covered under libel. Whenever someone makes an oral statement, that will be covered under slander. Okay, now here is a homework for you. Read general exception last topic of your Indian Penal Code, and also read section 501 and section 502 in the Indian Penal Code. That is your homework. That's it for today's, guys. And if you want to join our Telegram group, these are the benefits for joining our Telegram group. You will not regret to join our Telegram group. Make sure you also join the Telegram group. Link will be available in the description box of the video. Okay, these are the benefits, you may read them. And if you want to open a free demat account, link will be available in the description box of the video. Goodbye for this video.